F1 pre-season testing is finally here, and it was quite an eventful day as the teams returned to the track. We were given our first glimpse of new drivers entering new teams: Sainz at Ferrari, Daniel Ricciardo at McLaren, Vettel at Aston Martin, and we also welcomed Mick Schumacher, Yuki Tsunoda and Nikita Mazepin to F1 for the first time. Let's go through each of the team's days, look at their ups and downs respectively, starting with Mercedes, the champions, who really didn't get off to a great start at all. It was meant to be Bottas in the AM test session and Hamilton in the PM session, but unfortunately for Bottas, a gearbox failure on his install lap meant the team needed to replace the gearbox entirely, robbing Bottas of any meaningful running today. As for Hamilton, he got a few laps under his belt, but didn't really seem all too smooth on his side either. Soon after completing his first laps, he requested a pedal change, which further halted Merck's run plan. When Lewis did hit the track for a longer run, he looked all over the place, if I'm being honest. Especially at the beginning of his first run, it seemed as though the car really wanted to step out on him at every instant, and this was a very common issue he seemed to have throughout the day. Just before the session ended, he attempted a few shorter runs, yet a few mistakes coupled with a general imbalance with the car quite frankly ended a miserable day for the reigning world champions. He eventually ended up in P10 on a 1:32.9, completing 42 laps. There has been talk that Mercedes' low rake concept could hold them at a disadvantage due to the new regs on the floor. A low rake car usually relies on the downforce generated by the floor more than that of a higher rake concept such as Red Bull, so it will be very interesting to see how this plays out in the coming days. Red Bull, on the other hand, enjoyed a really successful day of running in the hands of Max Verstappen. He finished top of the timesheets with the time of a 1:30.674 on the C3 compound, and he set the purple sector time in each of the three sectors. He also completed the most number of laps, racking up an impressive 139. Early comments from Karin Chandok and Martin Brundle suggest the Red Bull looks much more predictable than last year, which is going to be encouraging and really put to the test tomorrow when Checo drives the car for the first time. Let's hope they can continue this early form into tomorrow and beyond. Just like Red Bull, McLaren also enjoyed a super strong start to testing. They clocked up a total of 91 laps across the day, with Norris finishing P2 with a time of a 1:30.889 on the C3 compound. Ricciardo also topped the AM session, which was encouraging, I'm sure. However, Daniel did state that it was reliability and general long run pace and procedures, getting comfortable with the car, etc., which were the main focus for the day and not headline times. So, even though this all seemed to work well, they'll be hoping to carry this form into tomorrow and Sunday and really show what they're made of. Moving on to Ferrari now. The Scarlet Red outfit seemed to quietly go about their business today, it seems, seeking mileage over raw lap times, to be expected. The duo of Sainz and Leclerc managed 116 laps between them, with Sainz finishing P5 and Leclerc P9. The day didn't go by without trouble though. A small stoppage for Leclerc at the end of the AM session luckily didn't do much harm to the run plan, and they'll be hoping to avoid these little gremlins tomorrow and the day after. Carlos seemed to just be getting to grips with the car and his new surroundings, having a few offs here and there, but overall it's fair to say they got their job done and they can carry what they learnt from today into tomorrow and beyond. I was watching some of the onboards from Sainz and looked at some of his speed trap data. On one lap, on a longer run, he managed to hit 323 kilometers an hour, which is 6 kilometers an hour higher than what they managed in the race last year, with DRS and tow, etc. And a tad higher than what they got in qualifying as well. So if this is the case and they've made a big step, a 5-6 kmh gain, this should be really encouraging and definitely a step in the right direction. However, only time will tell to see whether I'm right or not, but fingers crossed I am, for the sake of their own competitiveness as a team and obviously for entertainment purposes throughout the season. It'd be a big shame if Ferrari haven't found the gains they'd hoped for on the engine, as seeing such a great team like them languishing in the midfield is not something any of us want to see. Moving on to Aston Martin. Just like Ferrari, today was not about the headline times at all. The team completed a total of 97 laps, with Stroll pipping Sainz to P4 on a 31.7 and Vettel in P13. However, this shouldn't be too concerning, as it seems long runs and overall reliability were the main priorities of the day, again as to be expected. Especially for Vettel. Like all new drivers and new teams, he chased comfort over anything else today. He seems very happy in his new environment. He described the day as fun and looks forward to unleashing his green beast's potential rather soon, I'm sure. Today was a very strong day for Alpine and Esteban Ocon as well. 129 laps on the board is just what they needed given their history of stoppages and unreliability during winter testing, and they'll be very pleased with how the day went overall. He ended with a 31.1 on the C4 compound, putting him P3, but right now, like as for most teams, it's the mileage which means the most. They'll be hoping for more of the same from Alonso tomorrow, so they can really start the season on the front foot, something most Renault-powered teams in general have struggled with in the past. Moving on to AlphaTauri now. According to Will Buxton, Pierre Gasly was absolutely thrilled with his morning efforts, piling up 74 laps and seemed to complete all the tasks he needed to. It was a rather important day for rookie Yuki Tsunoda, who only got 37 laps on the board, but didn't seem too uncomfortable. So as long as he got all that sorted, comfort, getting into the swing of things, there's nothing to worry about on his side, and he can build on what he learned today going forwards. As for Alfa Romeo, they managed a total of 131 laps today, second only behind Red Bull. And so this is not only encouraging for them, but also for Ferrari too, with all the engine troubles they had last year. Any extra mileage they can get is going to be an advantage for sure, not just now, but going forwards into next year as well. Giovinazzi managed to match Sainz's 31.9 to end up P6. And Raikkonen pretty much got on with his own program in the morning, which was actually his first time in the 2021 car. As for Haas, whilst the day definitely improved towards the end, the AM session for young Mick unfortunately wasn't trouble-free. Some electronics issues put a halt to any running just before the lunch break, so hopefully Mick gets some more track time over the next 2 days. Mazepin, however, got many laps under his belt, but at the same time didn't seem too comfortable with the car overall and had plenty of offs and mistakes, especially at turn 10, seeming to lock up every time the cameras were on board with him. That's what I noticed. Again, nothing too much to worry about. His first official day in an F1 car as an F1 driver, and especially given the tricky track conditions, it's nothing to get too concerned about. But that being said, Haas will surely be looking to avoid any more technical issues and look for a smoother day of running over the weekend. Finally, Williams. Whilst Nissany got 83 laps under his belt, I do question how much Williams actually got from today, given neither Russell or Latifi were in the car. I'd suggest waiting either after tomorrow or Sunday to properly judge where they are and see how much of a step they've made from 2020.